What's going on, guys? DrumQuig podcast, episode 36 already. And I know we're blowing through them. You're just seeing them come left and right. And I've got a very special guest just because it's somebody I didn't think I'd ever get the chance to talk to. And I know he's going to roll his eyes at that one, but discovered your music quite a while ago. And then you did the video with Sam, and it kind of just sparked that, like, let's go ahead and reach out. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Leon of St. Paul and the Broken Bones and Track Suit Mafia, because we're going to throw it back a little bit.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, absolutely, man. So going right to it, because the Track Suit Mafia caught you off guard. I want to talk about that a little bit because that doesn't get talked about enough. And, going through some of those songs, like, I want to know what it was like to kind of create that session vibe and create that music you guys were doing with that stuff.
Wow. Yeah. I don't think anyone has ever asked me about Track Suit Mafia. This is impressive. So Track Suit Mafia was a band that me and some friends had here in Atlanta, and we never officially broke up. We just all got really busy and life took us in different directions. But we were listening to a lot of Lettuce, Soul Live, Corey Henry, Snarky Puppy, stuff like that. A lot of us went to jazz school, and so we just wanted to start a jazz funk band and play the type of stuff we wanted to play. So the most memorable thing about that session, because it's an EP, there's only 4 or 5 songs on there, I think. We recorded that in a weekend at this guy named Rafael Pereira's studio here in Atlanta. He's an amazing percussionist. Toured with Janelle Monáe for years. He subs with PJ Morton, and he also is just like a beacon in the Atlanta music scene. So anyways, I digress. He's cool people. We recorded that at his place. I don't even remember that was 2018, because the weekend we cut that EP was the same weekend I got called to go out with St. Paul for the first time.
What a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy, man. It was just the stars sort of aligned all at once. But yeah, that to answer your question after my rambling, that was just an excuse for me and some friends to write music that was sort of in a vein that we were listening to at the time, sort of jazz, funk, jam adjacent stuff. I don't know. But that's cool that you checked it out. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Listen, we talked about it before. I watched the Grooving and Talking with Sam of you guys playing in the park. And I was like, all these questions are about St. Paul, but they're also about your background and what influenced you. And it's so funny kind of going full circle, because the first record I ever got was Steely Dan's Asia. And then we've got the connection. Well, I don't think he didn't play on that album, but Bernard Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
And the Purdy Shuffle, and how our lives would not be where they are without it. So I know you talked about how important that was to you, and kind of wanted you to just elaborate a little bit more, just because it's such a defining groove that sparks, I think they said it was sampled 4,000 times.
Right. God, 4,000. That's nuts. Purdy's one of my heroes. I mean, he's one of the greatest R&B drummers that's ever lived, and he's everybody's favorite drummer. Even he's people who don't know anything about drums, they like watching him play, because he's just so full of joy. And I think above everything else, that's what I like about his playing so much, is that he always just exudes joy, and that he loves what he's doing, and he's having a really good time. I was into him in college, trying to think of the timeline. Yeah, college, post-college, I had gotten into the Aretha Live at the Fillmore record, and over the years it just sort of grew. It just sort of grew on me like a fungus, and I became more and more obsessed with it. And then Purdy was in town in 2016, 2017, and I got to meet him briefly and thank him for his playing and who he is and what he does. And I told him, you're playing on Live at Fillmore West that's some of my favorite drumming of all time. Thank you. And his response really caught me off guard, because guys like that, they probably hear that a million times a day. And he could have just been oh, well, thank you. But his response was something along the lines of well, thank you so much for listening. I'm just so grateful to get to do what I love for a living and share it with people that love it too. And I was like, okay, you're officially the coolest human that's ever lived. Yeah. So just his feel, his groove, he's got such a fingerprint, so to speak. Like his groove is so unique because that that guy doesn't have like an endless bag of vocabulary, like a Vinnie Colaiuta or somebody.
Jeez.
He plays really similar grooves on a lot of the songs that he plays, but he's so musical that the notes don't matter. He like transcends the patterns to me. So yeah, I just think he's one of the greatest. And you brought up Asia. I'm like 99% sure. You know that track, Black Cow?
Mhm.
That's the name of it, right? Big black cow and get out of here. I'm pretty sure Ed Green is playing on that track. And Ed Green is another one. We almost did one of his grooves in that interview, but it was like just a little too similar to one of the other grooves. So we went with a different one. But yeah, Ed Green.
Yeah, Black Cow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he is up there for biggest influences on me, especially when it comes to what I do with St. Paul.
Well, absolutely. And it's so funny, we talk about that shuffle influencing other people. Jeff Porcaro, like, is famous for saying he doesn't like shuffles,
Mm-hmm.
but Rosanna is a shuffle that he built off of Purdy Shuffle. And it's just so amazing where it just comes into play. And I'm so glad to hear that his playing reflects how he was. Because again, he could have just said, thanks, appreciate it, and kept walking.
Mm-hmm.
But he was grateful that not only somebody appreciated it, but he brought something else to the table in you. Like that's cool.
Yeah, he is the coolest. I got to stand side stage and watch him play the Pretty Shuffle because they covered Home at Last. And there are only like two drummers that have ever made me shed a tear just from the way they play the drums. It was him and Brian Blade. And yeah, seeing Purdy do that in person was like a punch to the gut. It was pretty amazing.
Like being side stage and him being such a big influence on you, I can imagine. I probably cried during Rush. I'm not gonna lie. I probably cried when I saw it. Like, let's be honest.
Did you get to see them while Neil Peart was still alive?
Twice.
Wow, that's cool.
So we went for the Clockwork Angels tour and then the R40 tour.
Wow.
Both times I got to go with my dad, which was so cool, especially the first time. I think I might have told this story before, but I literally bought the tickets and he was like, "Hey, whatever they are, like get them and I'll pay you back." And I got us like the best seats I could get. And I remember telling him how much the tickets were, and he was like, "For 2 tickets?" He was like, "Oh, that's great." I was like, "No, that was just for one." And he was like, "Oh my God." And I said, "No, you're not paying me back." I said, "There's no world where you give me any money for this." I said, "Because without you, I wouldn't know what this is." And I said, "How often does a kid get to bring his dad to Rush?" And so, like, and so I thought it was, yes, I got to see him twice. And I mean, the man never slowed down. And it's amazing that we're here in 2026, 5 years after he's passed, and they're playing right now. Like I'm pretty sure they're playing tonight when this show's being filmed.
That's
And
crazy.
Annika's killing it, man. A lot of people doubted her, and I was one of the skeptics. I'm not gonna lie. Like, who fills Neil's shoes?
Sure.
And then I don't think she needed to fill his shoes. I think she needed to wear her own.
Yeah, I don't think you can step into a seat like that and expect to like kind of do a half-baked version of what they were doing. Like
Mm-mm.
you have to step into it with your own voice.
Yeah, and you could see her from like night 2. She was already having fun, and you could see how much looser she was. But I can't
Wow.
imagine, like, I'd love to just ask her about that first night. Like, how terrifying was that? Because you could see the tense, you could see, not the looseness that you're seeing now, but just the weight of the world of all these people in the crowd going, if you miss a note, we're gonna know about it.
Right. Golly. That's intense, man. Yeah, Rush fans are a different breed, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the next generation Rush growing up, which was Dream Theater. So, of course, getting to see Portnoy, especially this last time around, okay, that made me shed a tear. I can say that for sure.
Wow, okay.
Just because I had seen them first in 2009 or 2007, 2009, somewhere around then. And then right after that, he left. And I remember being like, my favorite drummer just left the band. Like, what am I supposed to do now? And I saw Mangini a bunch, and Mangini's a great drummer, but he's not Portnoy. And it didn't completely work for me.
Interesting.
And when he came back, I was like, I remember reading it and going, it's not April, is it? Like, it's not like this isn't some cruel April Fool's joke, right? But getting to see that him back with the band after like 15 years, I think it was, that made me shed a tear. So
Wow. I didn't
I'll
know it
say
was
that.
15 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a long time. I think they put out like 5 albums while he was gone. It was like, and won a Grammy,
Jeez.
surprisingly. But that was a side project and a half.
Right.
I like it though. More organic. I want to know more about you guys playing outside and how freeing that was when you and Sam played, because I know I'm going back to that just because I can't get over just seeing the two of you sitting in the park. Like, you just look like you didn't have a care in the world other than trying to remember what you were doing while you were talking, because
That's basically true. It was less about being carefree and more about really worrying that I'm going to mess up the groove while I'm trying to answer the question. It was really nice. I know Sam said he spends a lot of time outdoors, and like if if my wife and I have a day off together and the weather's nice, we're outside somewhere. So playing drums outside is one of my favorite things. Yeah, it was delightful. I'm glad we didn't get, fined or escorted off the premises. And yeah, I had only met Sam a couple times before that, but we hit it off, and he's real easy to talk to.
yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
such a great idea for a show. It's like, I think me and another one of our friends both said to him, it's like Hot Ones, but with drums.
Way better. Way better.
But I also think I had an advantage over Sam because I've played those grooves like hundreds, if not thousands of times. And, Sam was just like that Tony Allen groove that we did. Sam had just learned that right before the taping. And that's a really hard groove. So the fact that he could do that and speak at all was pretty amazing to me.
I think the coolest part is that it felt more like two guys sitting on drum thrones talking to each other with really cool background music,
Okay, cool. I like that.
because it did feel more conversational. It just felt like, you see all these drummers that can sing and play, and you're like, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think that helped me going into the show. I used to sing a lot of backgrounds in bands that I was in, so I already had that muscle developed some. So I'm able to just put this on autopilot and sing.
That's crazy. It was fun watch.
Cool. Well, thanks for
I'll
watching,
definitely
man.
link it in the bio for anybody who hasn't seen it, but that was really like my jumping point to be like, hey, I need to reach out to Kevin. Like, I need to get this. I don't remember the first time I heard St. Paul, but I remember hearing it in the car and being like, what is this?
Cool.
So talk about your guys's, the sound that you create, and, putting out a self-titled album most recently, and the nonstop touring. Because I know you guys are, jeez.
Dude, it's a lot. So I joined the band in 2018 during that recording session with
Track Suit Mafia.
with Track Suit Mafia. So the band started, I think, in 2012. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they were around for a minute before I joined. So they put out Half the City, Sea of Noise, Half the City and Sea of Noise before I joined, and I joined on the release tour for the album Young Sick Camellia.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it was intense, man, because their original drummer, who's playing on those first 3 records, he had some personal stuff to tend to, and I knew some of the guys from back in the day. Like, I used to play in our trombonist has a band. I used to play in that. We played a lot in college. The original guy, Andrew Lee, is on the first 3 records. I joined in 2018 on the Young Sick Camellia release tour, and it was a very last minute thing where they were like, "Hey, we need a sub for this tour that starts in like a week and a half." Excuse me. And then, so it's like 3.5 weeks in the States, and then 3 weeks in UK and Europe. And they were like, "We definitely need you for North America. We might need you for Europe." And I was like, okay, whatever. I cleared my schedule. Everybody was very understanding, thankfully. And And then they asked me to be the guy like 2 weeks into the run.
Jeez.
I do specifically remember I got the call. First rehearsal was the next day, so I stayed up as late as I could, just charting stuff out. So I was reading in the first rehearsal, and the first 4 gigs that we did, this is like burned into my memory. I learned all this music. I'm like just comfortable enough to make it through the show by the time the first gig rolls around. And it was an album release thing. So the first gig was at a brewery in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The second gig was in a venue called Saturn in Birmingham, Alabama. And then we played the Basement East in Nashville.
Ooh.
That immediately after that gig, we got driven to the airport, get on a plane, fly to LA to play Jimmy Kimmel. So it was just like bang, 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 bang. And my first appearance on national television ever, like just having learned the music. So it was very intense.
I mean, that's wow. Like I don't even know what to compare that to.
I mean, it's honestly, that's just part of the gig, right? Like being a professional musician is just flying by the seat of your pants and learning stuff at the last minute. Like maybe you play in front of 5,000 people, maybe you play in front of five, but you still got to learn a bunch of music and make it happen. That's what people hire us for, right?
Yeah. Well, geez, 4 gigs in though. Woo,
Right. Yeah. It was a
woo.
lot. That was a really cool experience. It was just like, I journaled that night. It was like 3 pages of just like, this is surreal. I can't believe it's finally happening. So it was very like, my God, is this like a real career now moment for me? But you asked about the sound, and I joined at that record at Young Sick Camellia. The first record we made together was called The Alien Coast, which was a really hard left for the band. It was sort of like our kid A, so to speak, like really experimental, some electronic elements. So it like we lost some fans. I think we gained some new fans because it was not the soul thing. But it was really fun to make. And the coolest thing about it was that I came into the band like as a drummer, but also as like I'm a producer and a songwriter. And so I mentioned that to them, and Paul comes to me and he's like, "Hey, we're writing for this next record. If you want to write, just throw ideas in this Dropbox," meaning like, you know, little sketches you make in a DAW or like just memos on your phone or whatever. But he was like, just know that if you put it in there and it sucks, you will never live it down. I was like, I respect that. So so I sent something in, I put something in the Dropbox, and he dug it, and they like that was one of the first times I can remember being taken seriously as
Wow.
a composer and a songwriter and a producer and all that business. Because it all in the past, it kind of felt like anytime I had a song idea or something, the band leader would be like, "Oh, that's cute. The drummer has a song idea. Sit in the corner and play your drums." And I'm usually like, I get it. That's my job. But to be in a true creative collective where almost everybody in the band is an artist and a writer in their own right, and to be able to really create together like that and have every idea heard is really, really unique. And for this most recent record, the self-titled one, we brought in a producer from the UK. He goes by Egg White, and he's brilliant. Like he was kind
That's
of like
awesome.
right because I think his real name is Francis, but I've never called him by his real name, Francis White. Everybody calls him Egg, but he's genius, and he's worked with like Adele and Celine Dion and
Wow.
Yusef Days and like all these cool and eclectic artists. And he really he just brought something different to the session. Him and Paul wrote some of those songs together, and then the band wrote some of them, and we sort of mishmashed all those together. And it was a really cool and challenging and fun and like truly creative experience.
I feel like drummers need to be involved in the songwriting and not producing kind of process, just because again there is that, like you said, we joked about it before, the unsung heroes of the band are the drummers. The drummer messes up, everybody's going to know about it.
Yep.
Guitar
That is
players
true.
can break a string, can break a guitar, can drop a guitar, and everyone's like, "Oh, the show's still going. Drummer still has to go." But with that production process, and I feel like I just had this conversation with Alex Petropoulos from Pigeons, where he
Oh,
was
nice.
like, on their last album, they had everybody involved, and having that real collaborative experience where everybody's kind of got a say in it as far as the creative process and where they can go with it. I think that's vital to a band's success moving forward and a future. And like you said, album took a different direction, lost some fans, gained some fans. The people who are really there to enjoy the music and be impacted by your music are always going to be there. Sometimes they might not like that album, and that's how
Yeah.
we feel. That's how we feel about Lars' snare drum in Saint Anger. But that's a whole, geez, we could go on about that forever.
Right.
But I love that you had that voice and that you put yourself out there because you had that background and you were like, I can do this. I just need somebody to give me a chance. And like you said, kind of respect you in that aspect of being more than just the drummer.
Yeah. And for the record, like, I think if you just want to be in a band or be a hired gun and just play your instrument, I think that's totally cool. I think for a while I thought that's what I wanted to do, but I think I'm just more interested in like a holistic approach to creativity.
Hmm.
Just like I identified as a drummer for so long that I almost don't. I mean, I am a drummer, but I almost don't like being called a drummer because it like pigeonholes me. Like drummers do a thing. People it like conjures an image to mind, like a Keith Moon or something. And like Keith was great. That is not my thing. I think I'm trying to find the words for it. I think I like the idea of being seen and known and expressing myself outside of just the drums, like, and
As
allowing,
a holistic musician.
yeah, like allowing my drums to influence my writing to influence my drumming, my all of that to influence like my painting and drawing and like just I like the idea of just approaching it as one big thing because I think this is a new thing that I'm like putting through the English speaking part of my brain for the first time. I spend a lot of I spend a lot of time thinking about it. I don't spend a lot of time talking about it, but like, yeah, I think at this point in my life, it's really important for me to sort of break out of that box of like, I am a drummer. This is what I do. I practice rudiments and I play drum solos and I play beats for bands. I think I
That
think
was a
that's
perfect drummer impersonation, by the way.
I thought so. Drum. Uh, yeah, I think that's great, but I think I'm just at a point where I really want to embrace the entirety of creativity. Like I'm kind of sick of labels and genres and all that stuff. Like I just want to make stuff and have fun making it.
Yeah. Well, without giving you a label, I feel like you're a musical artist talking about your painting and your drawing,
Uh,
not an aspect that a lot of people kind of open up to. So, what's your favorite thing to draw, or is it just kind of like sketches or
it's all of the above, man. I've made it a point. I have my sketchbook right here next to me, but I've kind of made it a point to not put anything on social media because basically like you said earlier, we tour a lot. And so like recently, especially like within the last 6 months, year, something like that, I'm so grateful to be busy. I don't want it to come across like I'm complaining for being busy,
no,
but
not
it's
at
a
all?
lot. And I've been juggling burnout a lot, which I think I also mentioned on Sam's show.
Yeah.
And having a creative outlet that is that isn't something that I have to be good at and isn't something that I'm getting paid for. It feels really important to me and it feels important to me to keep that sacred. And maybe at some point I'm open to someday like sharing my work, maybe selling some paintings or something. But like right now, I really like keeping it as a thing that's just a pastime. It's like therapy, man. It's really, really fun and enjoyable for me.
I respect that. And of course, like my first thought was years and years down the road, if that decision, that's a book, man. Like that's a cool like book concept of just like how your drawing changed or how that, but keeping it so sacred.
Mm-hmm.
I think we overdo it. We tell it, we overshare, we overdo everything.
Yeah, yeah. I don't disagree with that. But yeah, I think especially in the age of Instagram and social media, for as useful of a tool as it can be, you're also sharing your business with everyone all the time. We're all chronically online. And it's just like, man, maybe I'm just a fuddy duddy. I just turned 40, by the way, which is
Hey, congrats.
which is crazy.
I
I
just turned
still
38. So
nice, man. I definitely don't feel 40, but
mm-mm.
I lost my train of thought about
Being on
turning
the internet, our business out there all the time. Yeah.
right. I think I got sucked into the existential crisis that is turning 40. Yeah, I just turned 40 and maybe I'm a fuddy duddy, but I miss the days of flip phones and snail mail a little right now. I miss the days of like simplicity and like if you wanted to listen to a record, you had to go buy it or you had to go over to a friend's house who had it and you couldn't just click a button and hear anything that's ever been recorded.
Ever.
Yeah. So, like, while I really appreciate the access to information and entertainment that we have, I don't know. I feel like there's, at the risk of sounding like I'm saying, like, get off my lawn. I think, I think there's something to be said for keeping some things sacred.
Private.
Yeah. Or even if it's not for the intention of just keeping it private, like just keeping it as a thing you're not trying to monetize or market or advertise, because it's so hard for me to put something on social media without it feeling like, hey, look at me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's you projecting, is you projecting. This is getting off into like philosophical territory, but this is
That's
what's in my
fine, man.
brain. Yeah, and I don't I won't go down that wormhole any further, but I think it's important to keep some things just as pastimes or just as like things you do because you love to do them and for no other reason.
Dude, I don't know that you could have said anything that could have hit me any harder because I do photography as a
Nice.
hobby as well. But I realized that when I'm doing it for work and I'm doing it for money and I'm doing it for events and whatever this, I have a blast. But then when it comes to like in the last like year and a half, I stopped posting as many pictures on my social media on Facebook because I'm like, I already do this, all the time.
Hmm.
And like you said, like I don't have to tell everybody everything. You don't need to know every single detail. Hey, we got these fun pictures. Yeah, I'll post those. And we get pressure. Well, why didn't you post any of those pictures? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you? And I'm like, because I didn't have the energy to go through 'em. I was like, we took them. We had a good time. Have a nice day. Like,
Yeah. Such a strange world we live in.
I I get that, and that kind of like hit in a deeper moment, like you said, the whole philosophical side of it. But realistically, like it's not. It's just being human.
Yeah.
It's just being present. And you talk about, snail mail and flip phones. And I'm like, look at where we've become. If we order something and it's not here in 2 days, we're like, where is it? Why
Yeah.
isn't
Where's
it
my
here?
thing? I need my
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, it's delayed 1 hour. Oh, this is unacceptable. I need a
Right.
refund like right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And I mean, it brings a lot of perks with it. It makes life a lot easier in some aspects, but I don't know. I think part of me misses being bored and misses waiting on things. You know what I mean? Like we just have instant gratification and that's that's amazing. We live in the future. We basically live in the Jetsons. But like, I don't know, if you delay gratification a little bit, it makes it that much better when it gets there. Like, having to drive to a record store to buy an album that your favorite band just released. I don't know. You can make like an event around it. You buy the thing and then you sit down and you listen to it rather than like, oh, so and so just dropped a new record. I guess I'll listen to that. And you hit play and you cook dinner or whatever while it's on.
It's not the same. It's like the family sitting around the radio
Hmm.
and all those pictures of them sitting around the radio, they're all staring at the radio like it's gonna do something.
Right.
Try to get 5 people our age to sit in a room and stare at one thing that's not a TV.
Right.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I miss being bored. I feel like that is a profound statement with three simple, four simple words. I can't count apparently.
we should write that down. That should be the name of our album, probably.
It's just nothing for the whole.
Yeah.
We I mentioned
Well,
it on a
John
prior
Cage
episode.
already did that.
On a prior episode, I mentioned it at the end of Under the Table and Dreaming. There's 34 tracks on that album, but
Right.
everything
Yeah.
from 12 to 34 is just 1 second. And I'm like, there was no internet to tell you, hey, this is going to happen. So I
Yeah.
remember putting the CD in and just watching it going, I miss being bored. I don't know if I can be bored anymore. I feel like we've gotten to a point where we can't.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of hard. Like there's stimuli around us all the time, but I'm certainly not immune to the constant influx of stimuli and information. But I try to be intentional sometimes, even if it's like 5 or 10 minutes, just like put the phone down, like whether you're doing like a proper meditation or you're just like, just sit for a few minutes or doodle something or go for a walk and leave your phone at home. I think I'm worried that this is coming across as preachy, and I'm not trying to come from
No,
a preachy place. I think I'm trying to come from like this is a thing that's been on my mind a lot recently place, and this feels like a place to be able to talk about it. And
absolutely.
yeah, man, I'm just all for, even if it's for little spurts, put the phone down, like draw a picture, go fishing, go for a walk, go for a run, have dinner with your friend, and don't look at the phone for half an hour.
Yeah.
It
Catch a
feels,
street fish,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, in fact, I'm an open book. I will talk openly about stuff. So I in all this burnout that I've been dealing with, I deal with a lot of anxiety. Like my family has, I come from a very anxious family, and so what was it like? A month and a half ago, something like that, we had a gig in Aspen. We flew into Denver, and then we had like a 3.5 hour van ride out to Aspen.
hmm
And at some point, I started to have a little bit of an anxiety attack come on. So we're on these winding mountain roads, and I told them like, "Hey, sorry, I need to get out for a second. I just needed to get out, get some fresh air. I was getting like a little car sick plus anxiety, and I was just like, I need to chill for a minute." I was like, okay, we can keep going. So somebody traves with me. I get in the front seat so that hopefully the emotion doesn't get to me so much.
Yeah.
And noticed the anxiety starting to come back, and I almost picked up my phone to start doing something to distract myself. And I was like, what if I try something different? And I put down my phone and I grabbed my sketchbook, and I just spent like the next 2.5 hours drawing the mountains that we were driving through. And by the time I was making like the last stroke on the page, the driver was like, all right, folks, we'll be at the hotel in 5 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, it just
You're
made
like 2.5 minutes.
dude, it just made the anxiety disappear. It was incredible. So yeah, I just can't recommend it enough. Like put it down for a few minutes and try something else.
It's so interesting to hear that, just because I mentioned it before. I used to cover MMA, and I would get deep into writing these articles, and I'd be deep into it. And I remember one time distinctly, I blacked out, and I came to still sitting up, and I looked at the screen and everything had been typed. And I remember being like, whoa. I was like, can that happen more often? Which is a weird thing to
Nice.
wish for. But sometimes, like you said, don't look at the phone, put it down. And I love that was so therapeutic for you in that moment, that moment became 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, that's wild. But you're right. This causes anxiety too.
Yeah, it doesn't help. That's for sure. Because it's all passive stimuli. You don't have to do anything for it. It's just you're just like, feed me, and it gives you all the shiny things that you could ever look at. And then if you decide to open up social media, it's just a bunch of people. I mean, I'm not exempt, myself included, a bunch of people projecting their idealized selves and showing everybody like, hey, look at all the cool stuff I'm doing. And I don't know
It
about,
makes you feel bad.
yeah, I don't know about other people, but when I see a bunch of other musicians killing it sometimes it inspires me, and other times it's that old refrain of like, oh man, I need to practice, or I need to work on something. And I don't ever remember feeling that way pre social media when I was listening to records. I would listen to a record and get really inspired and be like, whoa, that's super cool. I'm going to go work on this thing now. As
Because there was
opposed,
no intermediary. It was just you and the record player. Like there was nothing in between. There was no vessel to get it from other than the player itself.
right. Anyways, that felt like a long curmudgeon rant just then.
I loved everything about that because one of the questions that I've randomly thrown into some of these episodes is, and I feel like I already know your answer. What would have been like for the drummers in the 60s and the 70s if they had social media? Like, what do you think would have been impacted? Like, how different do you think music would have been if somebody was constantly telling Ringo he was terrible at the drums? Or if not picking on Ringo, it's just the first one that comes up, guys. I know somebody's going to get me on that one, but
Yeah. Oh, I'll come for you if you go after Ringo. Don't worry.
I got to see Ringo with his all-star band and Greg Bissonette playing, which was
Nice.
super cool
That
to
is
do because
That's pretty rad. I saw an interview with Michael League, the band leader from this band called Snarky Puppy, and what he said was something along the lines of like, I think having to promote yourself as a musician and do the whole like hype yourself up, advertise your shows, all that stuff on social media is one of the worst things to ever happen to art. And I really resonate with that because we live in an age where you can't just be a great singer or a great drummer. You also have to be your own PR person. You also have to like produce your own stuff. You also have to play several instruments and write songs. And it's so not only do you constantly have a picture of what everyone else is doing and therefore what you're not doing, but you're just always inundated with it. And if you want to keep up with all the noise around you, you have to make some noise yourself or you're never going to get heard. It's just like a sad fact of the age that we live in. And so I think if social media existed in the 60s and 70s, I don't think we would have a lot of that music
Mm-mm.
because like Sly Stone would have been too busy making reels and stockpiling reels to post over the next couple months instead of writing some of the greatest funk music that's ever been written.
That is the best answer I've got, by the way. But also, just think about people listening to Stairway to Heaven and going, "This song is too long."
Right? Yeah, you got to capture their attention in the first 5 seconds, or you're out of luck. It's like, well, I guess no progressive band ever would
No,
exist if that was the case.
no, Dream Theater's screwed.
Yeah. Oh man. So
A fun fact about Stairway to Heaven, just because it came up. So in Wayne's World, in that scene where he goes to buy the guitar and he goes to play it, and they go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, no stairway."
mhm.
But what he plays is not Stairway to Heaven.
God, it's been so long since I saw that movie. What does he play?
He plays something completely different. And what I found out later was that he asked to play Stairway to Heaven, and Led Zeppelin said no.
That's funny.
But they filmed it with him playing Stairway to Heaven. They just put something over top of it. So apparently there's a version out now because I guess whatever company owns the rights to Wayne's World also has rights to some of Led Zeppelin's music. So
Right.
there's actually a version where he's playing Stairway to Heaven instead.
Wow.
And I know that was a really weird fact of the day,
That
but
is a super niche factoid, and I really appreciate that. I love niche factoids.
I never do it right. But Garth is back here because he's one of the few Funkos that actually has drumsticks.
Nice. Okay. So
And I
that's
put
pretty rad.
every episode, I try to put something that I feel would embody the person in the episode. So I've got my Lotus poster behind me
Sick.
because that show was amazing. And then the boys from High Fade, you can see it back there. I had Heath on the show a few episodes ago, and on my birthday last week, I actually
Cool.
got to see them live. And man, what a nice set of guys. And I think you kind of touched on this before, like you can't just be a band. You can't just be a band anymore. You can't just be a photographer anymore. You can't just be a writer anymore. You're constantly I spent an hour yesterday scheduling reels. Like I literally am doing the thing like
God.
but I also did that because we're going away for the weekend. So I was like, I don't want to be attached to my phone. I don't want to, like, I did it as more of a scheduling inconvenience more than anything, or scheduling convenience more than anything else.
Sure. Yeah,
But
I
I think
get
you're
it,
right.
man.
Like the bands have to constantly post. And you're like, it used to be the venue would be like, hey, guess who's coming to town in 6 months?
Right.
And in 6 months, you'd have to remember who was coming.
I was just talking with someone about this the other day. When I was in high school, I was really obsessed with Tool, as like probably any, white teenage dude that ever picked up a guitar or drums was. But I was really obsessed with that band, and there was this mystique around them, that there was like this mystery. Like you didn't really know what they looked like. You only saw like the occasional press photo and the clips they would air on TV of really short, on MTV, of like short interviews and whatever. And now Maynard, the singer, has his own Instagram account, and he's like posting reels promoting his shows with Pussifer, and like, he's like sitting on a balcony drinking wine and talking about whatever. And it's like,
Which is funny coming from him, given
right,
his view on phones at concerts.
right. Yeah.
This Primus poster that's up here was actually from a show with A Perfect Circle and Pussifer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And there's a Danny Carey drum head back here because,
Cool.
again, you literally just nailed me. I think I got 10,000 days because my cousin worked at a classic rock music station in 2006. And like all these bands would send their stuff into the radio station, not knowing what the radio station played.
Sure.
And I got Stadium Arcadium, Between the Buried and Me. I think I got 10,000 days.
Wow.
But I remember listening to that and being like, that mystique was there. You were
Yeah.
like, what the hell? We're not far in age. So I was like, we grew up around the same time, the same kind of like inspiration. So 18 years old and hearing Ticks and Leeches. And I was like, jeez.
Yeah. God, that was on Lateralis.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember the first time I heard that, having my hair blown back and like spending weeks trying to figure out what he was doing.
Still haven't figured it out. I can watch people do it. And I'm still like, but that was always my thing, is that like I can read music. I
Nice.
just can't read it well.
Sure.
But if you put it in front of me and play it, I'll go, okay, I got it.
Sure. That makes sense.
Which annoys a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm not a super strong reader either. Like I had to read a lot in college, doing like the big band and jazz combo and stuff like that. And, the whole classical course of study that I had to do. But since I got into the like making a living doing this, the times I get asked to read charts are really few and far between.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Like I used to play with a big band occasionally, like right out of college, but I feel like unless I'm playing in a big band or I'm doing a studio session where I have to sight read something, which is super rare for me because of the type of music that I play mostly, like it's just not a skill that I need, really.
No, we all have to take the Stuart Copeland approach. You play the main things the same way, but everything else, there's a little variation here and there.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Man, it's been fun. Like, seriously, like, and it's been a lot easier for you because you didn't have to play a drum set the whole time.
Yeah, I didn't have to play while I answered questions. That makes it much easier on me. I appreciate it.
Actually, surprise, a drum set just showed up. Start playing. Let's go.
God, no, not again.
Again, that was one of the coolest concepts for sure. And thank you for, in the best way possible, going off the rails. Because, I mean, there's better terms for it. But realistically, like being real and, talking about some of the things you brought up in the show and the sacredness of the art. I feel like sometimes you just want to be, that's it. You just want to be. You don't want to have to worry about this. You don't want to have to worry about that. And I love that the artistic outlet that you found is painting and drawing, just because it is so therapeutic. It is so distracting in the best way possible because it's making you focus on something with your brain, your eyes, your hands, motors, like whatever it is. but everything is consumed into that one moment, and that's kind of where you are. So I thought that was a really cool breakdown of what it does for you.
Yeah, well, thanks for making a safe space where I felt inspired to share that stuff, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was trying not to ask all the same stuff Sam did. I felt like you just went through all that. So I was like, throw all the regular questions out the window.
I appreciate
Let's,
that.
yeah, for sure. Broken Bones and Pocket Change was a song, the first song I heard.
Wow. Okay.
And I remember that was the one that caught me.
Yeah,
So
I like that song a lot.
I know that wasn't you playing on it originally. I don't think that matters because you're there now. And I think even when you play it, you're bringing a sense of yourself to that song and any song you play with a band. And we went over this with Heath and High Fade. He was going to work in a pizza shop,
Mm.
and the band called and said, "Hey, you want to go tour the world?" Like,
Yeah, yeah.
pretty easy answer.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, I really like Broken Bones of Pocket Change. That's a fun one because at some point during that song, almost every time Paul will roll himself up like a burrito in a rug, or like hang from the balcony, or do something that none of us really expect. So that one always comes with a surprise.
well, I've missed you. I don't know how I've missed you almost every time. And I say almost every time, but every time you've come through. And I was so upset because I had friends at the show that you guys did, I think in February,
Wait, where are you based?
just right outside of Tampa.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I just missed that. I remember them posting it. It was like a Thursday night. And I was like, man, I can't make it that night. So the next time you come through, you'll see this face. Like we'll make sure of that
Heck
because
yeah, man.
hopefully you get some time to relax a little bit. I don't think anybody's ever going to look at it and say, "Oh, he's complaining about." Everybody wants to sleep in their own bed. Let's just put it
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We went on vacation for 4 days, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I got into my own bed, and I was like, "So I can't imagine months at a time, weeks at a time, months at a time, whatever that is. Just keep doing what you love doing. Like that's all that matters, and you don't owe anything to anyone." I think it's the kind of the thing you pull from that because you have to want to be there for it to work.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think any of us in our band are there for the money. We could make more money staying home. We do it because it's a lot more interesting than clocking in and clocking out for us at least.
Yeah. Listen, I clock in and clock out every day sitting right here,
Yeah.
but it's at least it's my house. So
Yeah,
it's a
and you get
little different.
it sounds like you get to make your own hours. You're your own boss, right?
Sure. My boss is watching. No, no.
Yeah.
It's still an 8 to 5, but it's different in the sense that like I hated working from home. And I know this is going off on a tangent, but when COVID happened, I hated working from home. I was like, no, put me back, put me back. I need interaction. I need people.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need that stimulation.
Same.
Once I learned that, like, I no longer had to deal with traffic. I no longer had to deal with figuring out what to wear for the day. Like, I didn't have to get up earlier. I could sleep in. There's a lot of aspects to that, but I think you're right. One thing I miss about driving to work was putting the radio on, putting Spotify on, and finding new music and not having that 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive kind of took that away from me. So I had to figure out where to find it. So I think give up one, kind of balance it out. And it just goes back to that, like, we always have to be stimulated. We always have to be, we've got everything available to us. If I wanted to
Mhm.
look up Track Suit Mafia and play it right now, it would take me 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I know that's still blowing your mind. That's why I had to mention it one more time.
I appreciate that.
After my incoherent rambling, this is always the part where I kind of leave it to you to thank anybody you want to, anything you've got coming up, any projects we haven't talked about, whatever the case is. But this is your floor, man. And tell everybody what's going on and do that shameless self promotion that we talked about how much we hate this whole time.
I do hate it, but I will do it. I'll be on the road a ton this starting in like a week. I'll be on the road a ton with my band St. Paul and the Broken Bones all over North America and then all over UK and Europe. So if you see us coming through your town, come hang out. And I'm going to say this here because I've never said it in a public forum, and I feel like This is going to make me hold myself accountable. I've been editing like a drum instructional course for probably like a year and a half, and I'm doing it all myself. And it's a very time intensive and very slow going because I'm like fitting it in between touring and whatnot. But I'm going to put that out one day. So
We're going to hold you to it.
I need that. Thank you.
Dude, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see you guys play and hang out. I'll make sure to bring a sketchbook as a present there because,
Heck yeah. Yeah, please shoot me a message next time we're coming to your neck of the woods. I'm always down to hang.
heck yeah, man. Well, this is my part where I do my shameless plugs. Jerseys for Drummers makes my amazing jersey. We always talk about it. Just finalized the order for the brand new one. It's going to premiere at Florida Drum Fest in September in Eustis, Florida. Stay Tuned Records. I always give those guys a shout out because they are a local record store, and Doug and Amy are our age. And to see younger people, and I'm calling us younger people because you made that
Right.
40 comment earlier. 40 is not what it used to be. I will go on record saying that, but to see people this passionate about tangible media and being able to actually go into the store and buy a record, it's a different experience than buying it online. It's a different experience than buying it, I feel like, even at a show, because at the show, you just have to hold on to it.
Sure.
And
yeah.
you have to like be really awkward and make sure nobody runs into you, and you don't get to hear it but I'm like, you go to the store, you buy it, you go home and you play it. It's a whole new sense of just instant gratification in the best way possible. Because like you said, you had to do something to go get it. You didn't just press a couple buttons and there it is. And I have made it a point that when bands' new albums come out, I will try to listen to it on a vinyl first.
Nice.
I'll listen to a song and I'm like, I could listen to the whole album right now. Or I could wait the 6 weeks before they ship this. I'll wait the 6 weeks.
Very nice. I support those.
Just thanks, man. Like, this was a super fun talk. And I thank you even more for feeling comfortable enough to kind of open up, because not everybody's asking the questions. Everybody's kind of, a lot of the times it's, who are your influences? Why do you play drums? Tell me about your band. And even when I covered MMA, I tried to not ask the same questions if it didn't fit the conversation. And for you, like I said, I watched the Groovin' Talk today and looked at it and went, let's talk about this. Let's expand on this. And I felt like you felt comfortable enough to just share. So thanks, man.
Really appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Well, on behalf of myself, DrumQuig Podcast, appreciate having you, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, man. Take care.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the DrumQuig Podcast. Thank you so much.